If you don't think the media is rigged, then you are blind. I'm sorry, and I've got to open your eyes to the light. It may hurt. It may be 10 times worse than staring at the sun when you realize that every time you've stared at that screen, there are people who make sure what goes on there. As if, say there was cattle that was on a farm and they had this TV show going on, and after a while they wanted the cattle to not worry about what happens to them on the overall trip, because, eventually they're going to die and their body's going to go, and however they die, they die. But when they die, and as they're dying, they're going to be having things happen to them. In their feed, they're going to give them some certain things and try it out. And in their, they're going to spray stuff in the air for them to breathe. They're going to do all that stuff. And in the meantime, they're going to watch their reactions and how they act around each other. And just, it's sort of their show. Okay, so now they get to try out their new things and their cures on those possible poisons that they put in their foods and in their air. And then in the meantime, while they're losing their mental capacity, some of the cattle starts to, still have their personalities, and they're playing around, they're doing their thing. So some of the cattle wants to start, putting on shows for the other cattle. And since those other cattle are celebrating the lesser mentalities and the fun stuff, all the other cattle are joining on to that. So the people that are running the TV that's keeping them all occupied and doing all these programmed things on them and doing all these little experiments and putting stuff in their food and seeing how they react to them, and then, seeming to treat them when they come to them, they're also making sure they pick out some of those cattle and tell those actors and say, hey, we want you to make sure you play these big roles that are really influential. And then, we're gonna publicize you in the regular world on TV and the news, because that's like a big TV show too. People just don't understand it because we can put whatever we want in the news and make it seem real. And then we get people following their celebrities and their fans, and then they start defending those activities like, you can hit, you can slap, you can punch, you can drink. Look what they did. Look at what this celebrity got in trouble for doing. Look at what our idols are doing. And they're not your idols. They're playing parts. And it's okay, but you got to see it. And I got to open your eyes to it. Because if you think that it's okay to keep having half your booty showing off, promoting sex in a world where we have way too many people having kids who don't care about them, who are living off a system that's taking advantage of them. Those kids are just going to be science projects, and I'm sorry, that's happening more and more and more as time goes on. And if people don't see it and have their eyes open, they don't want to admit it, and they're going to say someone like me is talking about conspiracies, but there's no such thing as a conspiracy when it's happening right in front of you. There's nothing being hidden about this anymore. You can find it in everything you see, every food label. You can look into every TV show. You can look into symbology. You can look into any spiritual practice, any religious practice. Look at signs. Open your eyes and think for 5 seconds about a few things that you're doing in your everyday life, and just understand that you're being pushed to do things so you can be analyzed like an experiment. And if you don't want to be part of that anymore, you have to stop being part of a lot of it and say, I'm done being part of this, and you can't tell me what to do anymore. And you have to be bold enough to see what happens when they start threatening you over fake money that means nothing. Like, say, for instance, I say, I'll never pay you $1, but I'm always going to be here to teach my kids how to eat healthy and be doing the right things in their lives. And then people would say, well, you can't do that without money. And yes, you can. Yes, you can. We have to learn that that's what we got taken away from us by people. And if those people really cared, they'd substitute the idea of money and make sure people ate enough, teach people how to think smart enough, or just the right education. I know that's harder than monitoring and punishing those who don't do what you say. But it's a lot more true, caring, loving, and accepting of all individuals with their own free will and their own unique way of approaching life than to punish people who don't follow your specific rules. So like those cattle, those TV shows promote those ideas and get people to agree with them and support them and get behind them. So then they've got them to turn on themselves and then say that to others and promote that. And then it's more fun instead of doing the right thing. So it gets to be, hey, let's do that. We know deep down that it's wrong, but we're going to do it anyway because it's more fun. And that's what people do. Whether they want to admit it or not, they've got to try a little harder, because if they don't try, they're letting everything just be ruined. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that.